Da, 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 da. Add a new tag helper. Add new item. Text area. And then we're basically going to we're basically going to take the text box and just modify it a bit. We need to change this to. We need to make a couple changes with this. We need to put tag mode, start tag, end tag. Okay. Put pre var input equal generator generate text area view context auto explorer 4 dot name um, uh, there are no dates on when stuff is going to come out. I have off on the 1st, which I will be using to nurse my hangover. And I will do some programming. I might do a stream. Um, I have a half a day tomorrow at work, so I might be doing a little bit of development before I go out. Um, but as far as dates, they are not set in stone. We are aiming for um, close to New Year's. Let's see here. So we need to finish this up. We need a attribute for uh, um, we're just going to copy these. We're going to do rows. We're going to make a property called rows. And we're going to copy this. Go has columns. I'm going to spell it out fully. Copy this. Rows. What was the thing to do? Like that. Columns. Um, uh, if has rows, what we're going to do is var rows equals, say 5 var columns text area. Do we even need that? Yeah, we do. We'll just do 0, columns equals 0. If has rows, we'll do rows. We want the actual value out of that attribute, in which we need to do oh, can I just do this? Output attributes, single or default. Rows, and we'll copy this and go like columns. And basically what we can do here is we can say if has rows, or we can say if not has rows. No, I don't know how that generator works. Yay, programming. Alright, so let's look at this generator. Generate text area. Let's look at the definition on this guy. Generate text area basically only has int rows, columns, HTML attributes. So I guess we'll just set a generic thing. I'll say rows is equal to 4 if not has columns. We'll say, ooh, I need to convert this to a hmm, that's not gonna work. That's the only thing with this stuff is that this is pretty specific. So we'll say rows attribute attribute rows 4 columns equals 50. Um, if it has rows, we'll do rows equal to oh, rows attributes dot value, and we will convert to int 32 like that, and we'll do the same thing with columns like this. And then we can do rows, columns, um, we're going to rename this to text area. Da, 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 da. That should maybe set that properly. I have no idea. Let's try it. So basically, um, what this lets us do, all this code, just a little messy, but whatever. Inside of our add game file here, inside of our manage, because we don't need this add game anymore, we could say uh, text area, and it lets us use this as like a custom tag, which is pretty neat. I have no idea if this is going to actually work. There's probably going to be a bug with it down the line, but I just want to make it fit like the theme for now, and then we can actually fix the model for it later. I need to fix that as well. I didn't want to do that. Manage. So we go to the manage screen. We should see that description is now a text area. Um, that should have some attributes tied to it. It has our columns, it has our rows, um, it has some classes, and everything like that tied to it. So that's pretty nice. So instead of like having the generic HTML text box, we can just give it the property of the model, and it will fill itself in. Yeah. So that was just a little thing I wanted to do. Later on, I might do like the release date. I should probably make this like not resizable too or something. But in Propeller, we have this is the library that I'm basing it on. But once we can like theme it to whatever we want if we need to. There's also stuff like date time picker, which will actually pop up something like this. So you can choose like release dates and stuff like that and make it a little bit easier. Um, so that's kind of neat. Yeah. So what we had working last night was uh, we have these collections here, which are just folders. I can browse for a bin file. These are not CHDs, they're bins. We can take Tonex Pro Skater, choose it, it fills in this information here. We can add game, and then it adds it to the list. Then we can drag it in here, and it looks like that. We have multiple entries in here, so that's a little broken, but um, whatever. What we can do is we can open up this database here, look at the data, and you'll see that there is the games that we just added. Um, what I would like to do now is to kind of build like right click functionality or like click functionality into here to like um, maybe edit the game. So in which case we'll have to look at JS tree. On click. Let's just do let's look at this. I think we already did something like this. No, we didn't move. On move, we're doing save. Um, so what we can do is tree. This is our initializer. It's kind of dumb that we have this going like this, but whatever. Um, dot. Let's do dot bind again. Dot bind function data data, and we just want to see what this looks like. Ooh. So we're gonna go like this. What is going on here? Okay. We'll do debugger. So breakpoint manually, and swap these like that. Okay. So now when we refresh the page, we open up a debugger. It should pop up the debugger. We can look at our local node ID 10. So this is really simple. Basically, all we need to do now is um, da, 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 we'll make another function called function edit game form. I don't call this ID. This will just be the ID of the game that we give it, which will be data.node. We'll say load edit game form data.node.id, like that. Because that is our structure. And what we'll do is we'll say, how are we loading the form here? Add game form, blah, blah, blah. We are doing game form. So we're going to hide this for now, because we're going to have to switch between the add game form and the edit game form. But we'll basically copy this same form out. Edit game, data injects true on success, game edited. We'll say edit game, text box for name, sort name, blah 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 blah. Save. Also update. Now, if we go into load edit game form, it's basically going to be as simple as get JSON say URL action. Um, ID equals plus ID function data. Okay. Okay. And what we'll do is edit game form dot set view model data. And then we have to edit the controller, which means we have to stop the project from executing. Game controller into HTTP get public action result get by ID. I'll put this right here. Just do this is poorly named here. This needs to be named something else. We have game manager node repository, but we need the. Oh no, we do need the game manager node repository. So we'll say game manager node repository dot get. We need to add this to the repository, which is under data. Repositories, this, and then we go like this: public game manager node get int ID return db set dot single or default node node.id equal to ID. And this will return our game manager node. And what we can do is we can do get ID like this. Our game. I need to add it to our manager node get ID. Gotta use the interfaces. Okay. So now that that's like that, we can just do a return new JSON result game, and this should pull it out of the database. And then it should set that view data. Meanwhile, we can write the function to update it as well. We can do HTTP. We don't need this action anymore. HTTP post public action results. Say update game. I'll change the name of this. ID game. Oh, what am I doing? No, that's not game. That's and we'll say we need to do this. Um, I'm gonna try it. And then we could try chopping it out later if we need to. Like that. And do return. Did not mean to do that. And now that we have that, we can go back into manage. We're going to change this to change this. And then here we'll do our on game updated function context. Basically, we just want to do the same shit. Oh, and what we need in here is we need a hidden ID. Because if we don't have that ID hidden, we won't know what ID we're trying to update. And what we can do in here is should add the controller so that we're not trying to pass in the ID. We'll just try passing that. I have no idea if this is going to work. I just wrote like the entire functionality in one go. I believe it should work unless I skip something obvious. We'll see. It's probably going to be like the population of the form or something like that because I'm kind of doing it in a non-standard way. Okay, load the form. We're going to add a breakpoint on the update game post. We're going to call this we're just going to give it a description. Tony Hawk 2 is the best game ever made. Fight me. It's that model has the description in it, and it does the wonderful, wonderful Windows line breaks. Game. If it doesn't break here, it should update. Okay. So the only problem I see is that the form didn't clear out and instead reloaded. And it looks like it didn't actually update anything. So what is that about? Let's get rid of this. What is that cat? Oh, because I didn't write the changes. There we go. Okay. Okay. That does nothing. That's good to know. Okay, game.id is game34, db game. Oh, not actually updating the damn thing. See, I knew it was going to be something like obvious if it wasn't going to work at all. Kind of quiet. I can bump up. Um, bop, 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 bop. How's that? That's like right next to my mouth. Tracked. Is already being tracked. When attaching existing entities, make sure only one is given. The instance and entity type cannot be tracked because another instance with the same key value for ID is already being tracked. Maybe it's because I pulled it out of the database first. Let's try getting rid of that. It seems like a fairly logical. That's super unsafe and it doesn't like do any like detection to make sure stuff is there, but we'll see. I need to start the project. Expressgator, update game. Ah, but you see what it did is it pulled it out of that folder. So that's a minor issue that we ran into. But if we look into the database now, you'll see that the description is updated. Oh, and oh, the type was set to 0, which is strange. Oh no, no, it's not because um, in our manage.cshtml, we need to set a hidden as well for type. Or what we can do instead is we can just save it as, what we'll do is hidden ESP4 parent ID. So what we'll do is inside of the controller, we'll make sure that game.type is always set to game because this is the update game action, not like the edit folder action or update folder action. I guess it doesn't really matter, but it kind of does. We can have two different models. That would make more sense. So, what was the other error? Oh, the parent was being dropped because on game, whatever that view model is. Yeah. Public. See, this is where I need to clean up these models so bad at some point because this is completely confusing. Because I based this one on Central, which that shouldn't be. Central just needs to be updated to the proper terminology, but that'll break up 4.1. Well, it doesn't have to, but that's why you version your APIs, which I didn't end up doing yet. Um, hidden ASP4 ID, parent ID. Okay, so where do we get by serial, get by ID? Oh, okay, so we're doing game manager now. That's fine. Okay, so that might work. Actually, that might actually work. Um, because the model that's being passed in, um, if we were to do games.get by ID, we do ID equals 34. It'll give us back the object of that, which is a parent ID of null. So let's set this back to a type 1. Um, and we'll put this back under the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater folder, collection folder, whatever. We'll take a look at this. We'll do refresh. Parent ID is 9. So now, if we hit this, get by ID 34, we should see that parent ID is updated, and this should carry over into. If you look here, there should be a couple hidden fields. ID field is required. Okay, so this parent ID, this should update as soon as I click on this. Value is 9. Okay. 34. So now when we update, we should say Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is a skateboarding game. If we update, it'll hit our action. Just make sure that this model looks right. Parent ID of 9, ID of 34, and our description's there. We hit that, continue, and it has updated and it still stays in there. Okay, so editing games is now possible after a half hour of development, which is actually not bad. Not bad at all. Um, got rid of most of the kinks. There's probably more that I haven't thought of, but that's there. Just gonna check this. I check this every once in a while. And I'm gonna check some messages real quick, and then we can look at doing the next part, which would be switching the form based on if you're adding a game or if you're editing a game. Um, it's the web server. What are you doing? Okay. So to swap these, it's going to be pretty easy. We're just going to go to manage. And what we're going to say is load edit game form. We're doing a we have a thing for on serial parsed. We're going to do a function load add game form. And we're going to pass in view model. What we're going to say is this, that, view model. And then we will say show. Actually, what we want to say is class equals manager form. We'll say that. And we'll do quick little style sheet of game manager form is going to be a display hidden. No, wait, no, it's none. But what we can just do is say hidden, hidden, like that. And what we can do is say on serial parse, load, add game form, data is the view model, and then in here we'll do show. And we'll say our game manager form dot hide. So we'll hide all the other instances of the game form, and then we'll say that there, like that. We'll say show. So when we choose a game like this, it should pop open the form, which it doesn't. Load add game form. Load add game form. Data, okay. View model. Okay. Okay. We go to elements. We go here. Add game form. Hidden. Display block. Ah, see, that's why we don't use that class. Never mind. I'm dumb. We'll just do for both of these. We'll do what am I doing? Style. Game manager form. Display. This. That's still hidden. That. Done. Okay. So let's do that again. Let's do add crash bash. Opens up the form. We can hit add game. It should clear out the form. We'll have this hidden when we're done. But then we can click on this, and this should hide every other form, and then put our edit game form there. So then let's here when we hit update game. Edit game form. Class. Oh. Game updated. We'll just say game manager form hide, like that. Both of these. If we want to add a new game, like Fighting Force, like that hides the form. There we go. This needs to pop up something different. We should probably have the on-click do a switch between whether it's a folder or a game, and then pop up different forms depending on which one you're looking at. But yeah. And then we can hit update game, and it will update and reload the form. Check messages real quick. people like me, apparently. Yeah. So, yeah, Vampire. I'm pretty psyched about it. Um, this is obviously very basic, and I do want to do some actual customization to the theme later on. It's time to get the new uh, functionality actually working. One of the things I want to try to start to tackle tonight is I'm only gonna stream for like another hour probably. Um, One of the things I want to do is figure out how to handle the file uploads. So when you actually upload a game, putting it somewhere. For the client-side frameworks, um, I'm using Bootstrap, and or this whole interface is Propeller, um, which is propeller.in. Um, it's a pretty great library for just a basic Bootstrap uh, material design theme. I use the admin theme, which is pretty. I mean, you can see here that this is like pretty standard. Um, but it's pretty nice, and we use it at work. And uh, if we want to use something else in the at a later time, it's going to be really easy because with the way how we are doing or how I'm doing forms, your basic form looks something like this. And basically, we just give it, we have like a card and we have the different fields in it. So when we want to actually update something, we just update what this component is or this tag helper, what it generates, and then we're good to go. So that's kind of nice. And we don't have to update a bunch of forms. Um, so otherwise, I'm just doing some jQuery stuff and some manual jQuery stuff. And it probably needs to be cleaned up a little bit. I'd like to start using classes and stuff in JavaScript, but uh, there's some other things I was going to take a look at to see if we can do it. But yeah, otherwise everything else is written in C Sharp, .NET Core MVC, so it should be able to be compiled down for Linux, so Linux ARM, so it'll run on the PlayStation Classic. Um, it's pretty nifty. Um, I would like to move to TypeScript at some point, but there's this other thing here that looks almost more interesting to me. It uses the type definitions of JavaScript. It's called BridgeNet. It uses the type definitions from TypeScript, but lets you write code in C Sharp, and then transpiles it down to JavaScript for you. So it lets you write like this, and it will let you. It'll actually do like type ahead with Visual Studio and everything, and there's some basic support for some. There's like link support, so you can do like your IEnumerables and your queryable and do wheres and selects and all that stuff, and you get all the string based, like all the system.txt stuff, and it's just really cool looking. Um, because what that would let us do is essentially the view models that we're writing um, for BloomSync Central and BloomSync itself. Where are my view models? These guys, we could use the same exact code and just have it compile down or transpile down to JavaScript. So, um, yeah, Vampire, I hear you. That's why I'm always trying to do new things. Uh, I've gone over this many times in the stream. I'll take a few minutes to go over it again and kind of show how this works. Let's see if we have an extension here. I have no idea if this is going to work or not. database context, utilities, infrastructure. Ah, okay. Um, Actually, we're going to have to write this in order to be able to actually upload to the PlayStation Classic. Um, but basically, BleemSync is built on a framework called Xcore, EXT Core, which is a framework for .NET Core MVC apps where you can have extensions and plugins and that type of thing. So, if anybody has used .NET Core MVC in the past, um, you know that you can't like import controllers from other projects. I mean, you can have your controllers defined in another project, but you can't. You'd have to like recompile it in order to like load it, or you'd have to write your own loader and all that stuff. So what Xcore lets us do um, is, I don't know if this is going to be in this app. Probably not. Basically, what we can do is, let's see where I'm registering this. Am I registering Xcore? Okay, so I'm including this. Um, so basically, this one little liner here, plus a couple other things that happen in the background, um, uh, it allows you to load out of a path, like out of a plugins folder, inside of the folder where the binary ends up being stored. You get to drop in DLLs that are compiled down from your extensions. So I can write an extension for the PlayStation Classic, which maybe in MVC it adds a couple more routes, a couple more actions. Maybe it has some menu items and stuff that it adds in. Maybe it has some extra database tables that it wants to use, that type of thing. It basically lets me make an extension, compile it down to a DLL, drop it into that folder, and Xcore just knows to load that DLL, and all of your controllers suddenly work again, or they're suddenly working, um, and we can use some cool things. So I'll just write a real quick thing here. I gotta remember how to do this because I haven't written one in a few weeks. It's basically, I mean, it's plugins. It's plugins for .NET Core MVC. Um, and what's going to be really useful, and I was kind of going over this in a dev channel the other night. Say we have so if we look at a config file, where's my PlayStation dump? Where's one of my pre's? I don't want to use that pre. I want to use a different pre. Okay, well, we'll use this pre. So what we can do is we can write an extension for our .NET Core MVC app, which is the PlayStation Classic extension. That inside of it can have services and controllers that basically will read this file, put it into a model, send that out to the view. The view can render the fields for it. So we can have, a drop-down that has the languages in it and specifies that. And then we can hit save, and it'll handle all that functionality just like a regular .NET Core controller, and action and route and everything like that. The difference is that we can write this as a plugin, so that inside the plugins folder we can have a PlayStation Classic.dll, which registers that menu and has it. If you don't have that DLL, like the menu won't appear. If you do have it, it'll be in there. It'll have all the views compiled into it and everything like that. Because that way, like, we can take BleemSync then and then just write a different extension for the different platforms we're going to support. So we can do PlayStation Classic, we could do the um, I'm blanking now, but like the NES and SNES Classic and the Raspberry Pi, RetroPie, all that type of stuff. All we have to do is write a different extension that handles the different actions, like what happens when we actually upload a file system or a game to the file system. How are we gonna know how to move, like where are we gonna put that? So our extension will basically say, okay, you want to add a new game? This is what this is where it's gonna go. I'll move it for you, and this is the stuff that I need to do to the database for like the UI menu and that type of thing. Um, if that makes sense. It's kind of very abstract, but it's very cool at the same time because we can have one front end that does all these different systems. Oh, that was a lot of talking. If you have any questions about that, let me know because, like I said, it's very abstract right now. But like now we need to write. Oh, sorry, I bumped that. Um, Now would be a good time to actually get the extension working, have it register a menu, and go from there. So what I need to do is I need to look at Xcore, ext core. We're going to look at a sample. Sample MVC web application. Web application, blah, blah, blah. Extension. This is what we want to look at. So I've modified how the extension kind of works. Um, we need this. I think we need this. I'm not sure if we need this or not. Extensions, use MVC action. Controllers. Let's just try using a controller here. What are our dependencies? .NET Core app. What is this thing used? I use .NET Core. So we're going to add in here. We're going to add a reference to our extensions infrastructure because we need that. And I think that's it. I think that's all we need. So we'll go into controllers here. And we'll do, we'll rename this, we'll add a new folder. Controllers. We'll add a new PlayStation. Damn headset. Controller. Like that. We'll say this extends controller. In which case we'll have to do you lied to me, you silly little extension. Public. Or I wonder if I didn't set up my extension. Xcore MVC. Oh, you know why? Because I didn't do the right. Stop. Stop building. Stop. Manage NuGet packages. I need xcore.mvc.infrastructure. I just released a new alpha. That Dimitri, I love you, but just added that like last night. I can tell. At least I think I had this in here. Yeah, I don't have it here. So try that. Do controller, show potential fixes using .NET Core MVC. And then go back here, the sample. We can do public class. Oh no, what am I doing? Public action result index. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a menu section. You'll see why I need this. This is something that I've crafted up. Do icon. Or some icons in propeller. Doesn't matter, probably not, but let's do the rowing one. Why not? We're gonna have to change it later on anyway, because we'll need like a PlayStation logo or something like that. Unless there is one in here, which is not. Sometimes like Font Awesome and stuff will have. Yeah, no. We'll have icon name equals that. Why is it throwing an error? Oh, right, that. And then we'll say menu item, and we'll say name equals settings, like that, and then we'll do return JSON result. We'll just do return JSON. Hello world. Just a very simple thing, so we don't need a view right now. And then I think what we're gonna have to do, at least now, so I don't have to like do it later. Okay, that added as a dependency. And then we'll try to run it. I started like as soon as I put my microphone closer to my face, like my face starts itching like crazy. What does this say? Found an end tag. Thank you for that warning. PlayStation Classic Core is not compatible with .NET Core 2.1 because I didn't mark it as 2.1. For some reason, it's marked as 2.2, so I'll change that to that. Hit Windows D instead of Control S because they're right next to each other. It's the most annoying thing in the world. And then try rebuilding. And my home view is broken right now, so. So you can see that we added PlayStation Classic, and it's got a settings menu, and when we click it, it should return our. Oh, we might have to fix that. But what we should be able to do is go PlayStation Classic settings. Nope. Hmm. Oh, I wonder. I know what it is. I didn't do that one step which I was supposed to, which is actions. That. Add new folder. Actions, and then use MVC action. Public. I use MVC action. Public wait execute iRoute builder. Why am I writing this by hand? I have no idea. No. Why? Use MVC action does not implement interface execute. Oh, because I didn't import this stupid. And I didn't set priority. Public int priority. It doesn't really matter about the priority. Um, unless you have like 100 different plugins loaded. What are the usings in here? I'm just going to borrow these. Borrow, I mean straight up copy. All right. We're going to start and we're going to see what this looks like. Oh, yeah. Uh, that's not right. It didn't register the route correctly, so I'll have to take a look at that. Um, oh, you know what it is? I didn't put something at the top of my controller. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But you can see like now, like it'll actually have the URL for the route at the bottom, and it'll go there. That's like a menu that I have that's built automatically from the extensions you have loaded. So if somebody adds a new extension, like if they wanted to, change the name of this or something like that, or let's like change the icon. It's literally as simple as like going into the controller and changing the icon to shit, I don't know. See, let's say theaters because that's a cool looking icon. And there's the icon and it's updated. So what does this actually mean? It means that if we look at the build folder, you'll see that this extensions PlayStation Classic.core is loaded. If this DLL was not in the same folder as the BleemSync stuff, or if it were not in like the plugins folder that we'll have, that menu item won't get loaded. And none of that code will get loaded, obviously, because how can it load it if it's not there? But what that means is like if somebody comes out with a mod, a good one was like we were looking at ComCom's boot menu. Not everyone's gonna want that boot menu. I personally, I would rather just use the normal UI, and I'm not gonna put anything more than like the PlayStation Classic games on it. But if you wanted to install the boot menu, what you would do, or what ComCom would do, is he would have all of his shell scripts and everything that would be the actual install process of copying like the binary into the correct location, injecting into the script so it loads on boot, and then he would have a DLL that would copy over into the BleemSync plugins directory. And when that extension is in that folder, where it's a place where BleemSync can load it and loads it in, it'll add a menu entry. And then in there, he can have a form inside BleemSync to configure whatever he needs to configure, and all the functionality of editing that config file is stored however he wants to on the system. Um, so it basically ends up being kind of like how RetroArch is like, it has all the cores and everything like that. This is like just bringing a unified interface to all these different tools. Um, and then it also takes away like the whole thing where like with the problem with Hackg, which I have open right here, is we have tools in the mod store like SD-prep and stuff like that. But when you install SD-prep, it's just a module that gets installed and runs on the system. It's not a module that you can install, have a menu item for, and then like tell it like, okay, I put in a new SD card. I want to format this one now, and then just hit a button. You have to go back in the mod store, install it, download it, and have it run. Um, um, it's probably not a great one, but there's also stuff like the Wi-Fi mod. Like that's a great example. So like Wi-Fi mod, you have to have a config file um, with like the ESSID prepped in it and the password and everything like that. But if we could have it as a BleemSync thing, what we could do is install the WPA supplicant, um, tell people to plug their systems into their computers, and it opens up an RNDIS connection, blah blah blah, and then we can access BleemSync from there, and then we can have an interface for, okay, you're on Wi or like you want to connect to Wi-Fi. Here's the Wi-Fi settings page. Here's all of the uh, access points in the area. Click on it, and just your standard interface, and it's all from one location. Instead of having to draw it on screen and that type of thing on the actual system, we can access it through here. I personally would like to keep the functionality of the PlayStation Classic with maybe better emulation. Uh, the reloaded PCSX reloaded in RetroArch is already better. I don't care about having multiple devices as I have a RPi 3B Plus for that purpose. And that's kind of the same mindset I have. I would love to have, I wouldn't say love. I'd like to have a Pi because they're pretty good for doing all sorts of emulation. I would like to have a Pi to do multiple, like to just have a hard drive in that has all the games on it, and then have that like on my downstairs TV or something like that. I like I like these systems for like their own little purpose. But in that case, like even then, it's like I want to have BleemSync on the Pi because even then, it's a pain in the ass. Um, I tried it like 2 years ago with RetroPie, and it was, you get your flash drive prepared or your SD card prepared, and you drag all the games into it, and you make sure that all the config files are there, and you make sure that the menu entries are there, and you make sure that all your covers are there. And then, uh, if you want to duplicate that on multiple systems, you have to, you know, image the SD card, keep that image somewhere on your computer, flash the next one, and it's a pain in the ass. Like I want to be able to, you know what I want to be able to do? I want to go into my games folder. This is going to be a bad representation because it's not completely built yet. But I want to add games to my PlayStation Classic. I want to take Gauntlet Legends. I want to drag it in. I want to have it find the info, and I want to hit Add Game. And I want that game to be on my system. That's it. That's all I want to do. And I think that's all anybody wants to do. I don't think they want to go around scouring the internet for covers and information and stuff like that. Some of them, some people do. I've done that before, where like a cover is not like up to my standards and that type of thing, and I want to replace it, and that's fine. And we can build in the functionality to update that cover to whatever you so choose, or grab the cover from wherever you so choose. But let's make this easy. RetroPie is now drag and drop. How do they do drag and drop? Let's take a look at that. I got some time here. RetroPie.
You can install and blah blah blah. Okay, so let's see. Oh wow, they got their train wreck. That's cool. 4.4. Where do I first installation? Da da da. Let's see this video. Hardware, download, extract, install, configure controllers. Emulation station. Uh, Transferring ROMs. Okay, so they have a thing on the system and you can connect to the access point. Okay, sure. Installing additional emulators. Um, Pre-made images. Software can be installed from the RetroPie setup script. Okay, I already hate that. Transferring ROMs. Okay, so transfer ROMs. You take your USB stick, you format it, drag your games onto it, and you plug it into the Pi. And then it may or may not add it. Or you SFTP in, or you use Samba shares to get in. Okay. Does that have, like, does that pull in images? Let's see. Controller, arcade, emulators. Oh, that's broken. Uh, oh, oh. Oh, okay. Emulation Station does have a scraper. Okay. Um, how does it do that scraper? I'm assuming it does it by file name, because that's how Kodi does it. Okay, so okay, let's see what Vampire is saying here. It's called Scraper now. Probably is drag and drop, Scraper, SMP share. You can do drop in, SFTP or SMB, or USB. The images are grabbed by Scraper, which might be check some hash base and indeed file name. Depends on which scraper you use. There are several different ones. Okay. Um, that's all well and good. Um, the problem I personally have is I use Kodi, which is ooh, look at that. So like they have like a web interface and everything, and it works okay. Um, the problem that I have with Kodi is like Emulation Station works very much like Kodi does, and I feel like RetroPie does pretty much the same thing. Um, and that's you have an interface on the device that you can use to scrape folders for your games and media and type and stuff like that. And it works, and it works great. Um, and it'll do like automatic scanning and automatic updating and everything like that. That's great. That's established. We've done that. What I hate is when I need to update something in Kodi, I'm going through the interface on a 10-foot display with a crappy mouse and keyboard, or I'm using some crappy external application to manage it. Um, I can edit some things here, but I can't edit all things. I can't like, and I can't add new media through here. Um, these posters are awesome. Holy cow. Uh, to me, it should be as simple as um, like the problem that I have with scraping in Kodi is that it's not always accurate, especially if you don't have the correct file name. And so therefore, if I go into TV shows, that's why everything here is named SO4EO3, SO4EO4. And even that doesn't work all the time because it could be a different DVD order, stuff like that. It could be a different release, whatever. The same thing happens with video games. So you have, um, so I have some PlayStation games here. They're at ISOs. I have, I have some that are uh, just bin queues with the tracks. I have some that are CHDs. Um, the ability that BleemSync is going to have is instead of like, because there could be a million different versions of this bin file out there, or more likely, probably around a dozen, because a bunch of people have dumped it and it's different for whatever reason. The checksum doesn't match up. If it doesn't have a file name, maybe you'll get it. File names are very ambiguous sometimes. Um, Whereas what BleemSync will do is if I drag this in, what it does in the background, let's come on, we need to try a different one. Boom. Okay. What it does is it scans that file, the binary data in that file, it finds the serial number, and then it goes out to BleemSync Central and grabs that information. That is a unique identifier. The contents of the disk are the unique identifier, not the checksum, not the name. It's the contents. And we can do that with some systems. And I'm trying to figure out how to like fingerprint other systems to go like that. Um, but like if we go into a GameCube game, oh, not HexChat, XXHXD. There we go. And we drag an ISO in here. This has a header to it um, that has the game name in it and its serial number. This is a unique identifier. That right there. Um, Same thing, like Animal Crossing probably has the same thing. All these, they all have different. There's an Aquaman game on GameCube. They all have these unique identifiers. If we go into, oh, what's going to be the earliest? Probably PlayStation and N64. Yep, N64 has some sort of identifier. The trouble gets to be when you get to uh, older systems. Um, like I don't think the Genesis would have anything like that. Maybe it will. Yeah, look at that. So like this, like these are unique identifiers for the Genesis game. Like we should be able to scan this out and read it, and it shouldn't matter what our file name is. It shouldn't matter. Uh, we shouldn't have to do language parsing because these IDs are already in here. We should be able to scan that. Um, and the thing is like all like in order for the game to work on the system, A lot of times it has to have this stuff, especially with like the DS and that type of thing. It might get a little dicey if you're talking about like homebrew and that type of thing, but um, I don't really care about that right now. There's other ways that we can handle that. I mean, if it's a ROM hack, people are going to put in their own info anyway, probably. We could have additional functionality like checking the checksum or checking the file name. But this is just, it's the better way to do it, in my opinion. And I sound like I'm shitting over everything. I am to an extent, but we can do better. Like, I bet you there's a unique identifier in here somewhere, somewhere in this. Well, and here's the thing, like if we had ROM hacks that would like an MSX Media collection of known good dumps. Yeah, so yeah. The thing that pisses me off is and this is getting way off topic, um, but SMC files, which are SNES images, um, they don't have any fingerprinting, or they do on the actual games themselves, but people have chosen to strip those out. And that's part of like the SMC thing is like, oh, the first 512 bytes could be, it could have information about the game, or it could not, depending on who dumped it. So that's where it gets a little tricky. I do want to see if I have a game that would work. I bet you the ones off the SNES Classic would work. Let's go into Super Nintendo. Oh, hey, I got a bunch in here. Look at that, and they're not zipped. Okay, that doesn't have anything. That doesn't have anything. That. Do I have anything that's not SMC? That's SRM. That's a save file. It's not Little Endian, is it? Maybe that's one that's throwing me off. No, it's not. Any text in this thing? We. Yeah, I mean, like, the first 512 bytes are supposed to have. Oh, I'm not even at the top. It's supposed to have, like, text in it. Nope. Nope. None whatsoever. Oh, this damn microphone. Um, yeah, so I'll have to see, like, what systems we can do it with. I don't doubt we could do it with most. Um, it's just a matter of finding which ones do it and which ones don't. I'm actually surprised that the Genesis did it. It makes me wonder about the Master System. Oh, that's BIOS. What are we doing? Da da da. Okay. Yeah, this doesn't look like it has anything in it. It's probably super basic. I mean, Master System was run the NES era. So, but yeah, and then there's things like there's going to be different checksums for the different uh, PlayStation games out there. But if somebody dumps like an NES game, like I wonder how many different checksums there are out there. Like it's a very, I mean, if it's a, I don't know, I don't know. Anyway, getting back to what we were doing. I don't even know what I was doing at this point. So I need to figure out how to actually upload this file to the system. I've got basic moving, editing. Um, if I update this, this won't turn into a folder anymore, which is nice. Not nice, but whatever. So I need to figure out how to actually do that. So let me think here for a second. I would assume that we would have some sort of interface. Um, yeah, I mean just some sort of interface that's defined, and then we just have the extension implement that. Um, how would we have the extension implement that? Well, we'd have to use reflection. How does any framework do it? I don't know. Uh, oh, and that's the other thing. Like there's like Wiz mentioned, PBPs. PBPs also have headers in them. So if there's like a modern file format like that contains it or something, we can always search that. The zip files are going to be difficult. I don't know how we're going to handle zip files because a lot of people upload zip files of games, and we'll have to like either decompress them on the fly. Let's see here. Decompress zip in web JavaScript. Zip.js. Wow, okay, that actually works. That's super surprising. And it works with IE 10? Dang. Yeah, so I mean, if we just built that functionality in, we could possibly deflate and go from there. I don't like zips though. I don't like games in zips. It's too ambiguous. Hmm. Hmm. Software again writer. Maybe we need to read a zip and store its file into a variable. You must remove da da da. Okay, whatever. Uh, because 7-zip doesn't exist in JavaScript. I'm trying to, I'm kind of mumbling, but I was trying to solve like if you had a game in a zip file and you were trying to load it into BleemSync, how you would handle the scanning and scraping for that, because you'd have to get the data out of the zip somehow. Oh, that's some bridge we'll cross when we get there. I have no problem saying like, okay, you can only use bins on this release, because we can't support anything else. Okay. So how would we implement that? We would need let's look at Xcore. I just want the source code. There we go. Infrastructure, web application, basic extensions, data, uh, database, web API, file structure, or anything else. Okay, so storage might be what we want to do. Um, oh, oh, no, here we go. Xcore sample web application that registers a service inside the extension, which is what we want because services are neat. Um, plus operation, so I operation. Okay, how are you doing this here? Startup. Use Xcore response operation.calculate 510. So I'm assuming pending. So you can I operation, where you define calculate, and it's going to return an int, which in this case would be our like I uh, game manager service or something like that. Oh, okay, I see. Inside the execute here, they just add a scoped service. So that's really cool. So that's probably what we'll end up doing. Um, because then we can have, we can do here, is inside of here, we'll do add a new project. We'll do a class library of themesync.services. What are you talking about? Do I already have one? No, I don't. Why is that folder there? Bleemsync. Services. I want to edit this file. I want to edit this file. Let's look at the solution. Okay, let's look at services. Services. Themesync dot services. Oh, you know what? That's inside of core. That's why. Um, and this is all the CLI stuff, which for the most part we can get rid of because this is all like moot now. Yeah, let's do that. Because view models, you already have these defined somewhere else. Boom, boom, boom. I want you in my room. Services. Okay, let's go into services. Hey, it actually deleted the files. That's a first. We're gonna make sure this is package, application, .NET Core 2.1. Great. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. Okay, now if we drag this out into the solution, go like this, now we have services. So now what we can do, I'm going to take um, central service, because we might need to use that somewhere else. We're going to move that out of here. You're going nowhere. Um, delete. Okay. We don't want you anymore. You're the red-headed stepchild of services. Public class menu service. We don't need this anymore either. We don't need this entire folder. Look at that. That's called trimming the fat. Um, okay, so we have our central service. Now we can do add um, I'm going to do abstractions, and we're going to do add new item I game manager service. Oh, um, yeah, why not? We'll keep it like that. We might change that in the future, but whatever. So now what we can do is we can have bleem sync like this. We can do dependencies. And we'll say this requires bleem sync services because in our startup, let's go into our controller real quick. Let's fix this because this has been broken for a little bit. That's been broken. We don't need that anymore. Ba da ba ba ba. Okay. So what we can do is inside our game manager service, we can say interface public. Yeah, that works. What we can do, what am I doing? We need central service working first. Add new folder, view models. Even though they're not technically view models, I don't care. Ba ba ba. Move that there, like that. And delete those. Da 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 da. See, I already namespace these. No, I didn't. Whatever. Services. Let's fix that up. This needs to be in the right namespace here. And this needs to point at services, that view models. Okay. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay. So now inside central service, what we can do is we can say we don't need to do anything inside central service. What we need to do is go inside here, start up, make sure that nothing's erroring here, which it's not. Oh, we can make our iGame Manager service. And we can say, let me see, upload file. Oh, iForm file. So if we just do no, what we just want is you want the controller to handle the actual file stuff. Um, no, I don't know. So we have a file. We're already given the game information, and we want to be given the file data so that we know what to do with it. So in order to do that, um, we need to have a reference to game manager node, and we need to be given the um, the stream. How do we get the stream? File path file. No. What? No. What? 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 No. Oh. Oh, so post the form file. Files uploaded using the i4 formal technique are buffered in memory or on disk on the web server before being processed. The iForm file contents are accessible as a stream. In addition to the local file system, files can be streamed to blob storage or entity framework. To store the binary data in a database, blah blah blah, don't need to do that. Specify a view model of type, blah blah blah. Upload larger files with streaming. If the size or frequency of the file uploads is causing resource problems for the app, consider streaming the file upload rather than buffering it in its entirety. That sounds great. As the model binding approach shown above does. While using the IMForm file and model binding is a much simpler solution, streaming requires a number of steps to implement properly. The following example demonstrates JavaScript Angular to stream to a controller action. The file's anti-forgery token is trying to use a custom filter attribute like HTTP headers. Oh, I see what they're saying. Got it. So we're going to have to do this eventually, but we don't need to do it right now. Basically what they're saying is instead of like uploading the file and then moving the file, or like uploading the file, having it stored in the memory of the system or stored on the disk, and then moving it later on, you can just have it streamed to wherever you want it to through your service, which is eventually what we'll end up doing, um, because that's a much better way of doing it. Or maybe it's not. Maybe you want to store it in a different way on the system. Who knows? Okay, doesn't matter. So I think what we can do is we can just look at this and say, okay, this is posted. iForm file, file path, public interface, length name, file name, open read stream, copy or anything, da 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 da. Okay, so what we need to do is actually handle the uploading of the file using .NET or the controller, which is fine. That's good. Uh, that's fine for now, anyway. Um, oh, okay. So inside of our controller, we'll end up doing. We're just gonna copy this little snippet out into our game controller. And we'll say, we'll make a route and we'll call it, uh, oh, actually, no, what we need to do is make this part of the add game, which we can do by saying list iForm file files. Maybe. What's their form look like? Form upload files. Oh, got it. Got it. Okay. So what if we did a model? Yeah, okay. So you know a view model for uh, uh, we need this. We're gonna do a add game. Or we'll say game upload. We'll say this extends game, and we'll say form public iForm file. Um, game upload like that. Game upload. Members can have the same name as their enclosing. Oh, duh, because it's already called game upload. This is just gonna be called a property. We'll just say, we'll just call this file, whatever. I don't care. I don't. I forgot how all this display stuff is done. Upload game. Whatever. Um, basically, what will happen is when we do uh, game controller, we'll say This is a game upload. And then inside here we'll do add game to the database. And we'll say upload the file to the system. Long size equals game upload dot file dot sum. Oh no, just that length. For each, nope, we just want to do using var stream equals new file stream file path, which we need to put in file mode create. Do var file path equals path dot get temp file name, and we'll do wait form file. What? Form file? No. File. What? What? No, no. No, 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 no. Wait. What? No. What? No. Why? No. No. What? What do we have here? File dot copy to async. Stream. Okay. This is going to be super basic, and we're not going to have any confirmation that it actually uploaded until we can view it on the file system. Uh, but what we should be able to do then is is inside of the manage, we'll have a inside this form here for add game, we'll do a new input type equal file, name equals ASP4 file. So janky, but whatever. This should really be inside of a partial or inside of like a component or something like that, and then we can specify the model on that. But since this inherits, it'll be fine for now. Game manager phone file, for file. Okay. Uh, class equals hidden because we never want to show that. And we'll say on JavaScript, I don't even know like what this would do. What input type equals file boom dot val. Okay. Um, I think can we just like add another one? Can we just like copy this? Just put it inside here. Uh, can we do input last? No. Um, copy value from file. Put copy the value of a formless file input to another file. You can't move the value of one file input to another. Uh, hmm. Oh, I know what we can do. Um, this is what we'll do. Inside of here, we'll take this. We'll say accept q bin game upload. Get rid of this. And then what we'll do is we'll add a button. Um, class. Um, that. And then we'll go into whatever, I don't care. Add game button on click function. Um, add game form. Yeah, let's try that. And then, so when we click the button, it'll open up the game form, which should reveal our little upload button thing. And we can disable this interface for now because we won't need it. Why is my build failing? Can I convert from LeapSync services view models essential game? Does that not pop open the form? That's annoying. Ah, because the class doesn't work. Fun. Okay, well, let's just try showing this anyway. Load, add game form. Boom. Where's my field? Where's my field? Ah, because I made it hidden. Duh, pet. Come on. Come on. Like that. Okay. Now if we go like this, let's do a small one. Find the info. Hey, baby. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so add game. So when we submit this, object not set to a reference of an object. Instance of an object. Reference, I don't know. Okay. Files null. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to our manage, see what's going on here. Input type file, ASP4 file. Let's not have it hidden. Let's look that up real quick. MVC ASP4 file. Add a file upload class, iForm file, that's correct. Add a helper method to upload files. Process file, iForm file, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. On post async. File state is valid. File upload, copy to async. Where's the file upload? Where's that even defined? Oh, my headset's dying. And it's midnight. If my headset dies, I'm gonna stop the stream, so you'll know. There's only 3 of you watching anyway, so whatever. Schedule, display format, date, time. Ba, ba, ba. I don't want to store it in. Sure. Yeah, fuck it, we'll plug it in. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on here. That's not helpful at all. Upload files in ASP.NET Core. ASP4 for file. Oh. Let's try this. Let's try changing the type of form. Instead of doing like post or anything like that, like a regular post, let's just try doing that first. And we're gonna start again because I stopped it from some stupid reason. It's still null. Why is it still null? Hmm. String image caption. My action result create. Model. That's null. Why is that null? Um, iForm file null. Your file input has a name attribute of file select. Name of. Okay, that's not all. Okay, horrible. Alright, let's just try. Let's just try. Let's just try to swap in that little bitty there. Say name. Let's try doing a small one. Crash Bandicoot 2. Inspect. Okay. Okay. And it's returning null. Why is it null? When I have game upload, an iForm file is the file. That is the name. Let's try doing. Let's try making a constructor. Couldn't see how that would have anything to do with it, but you never know. There have been stranger things. Not the show. Also true when submitting a. Oh, I'm doing. Um, that's right. That's right. Um, .NET Core, Ajax form. It's because I'm submitting this through Ajax. Um, which is different. Ajax form file upload. Let's try that. Using Upload file using Ajax and ASP.NET Core. Form data.append URL action upload. See, that's not using .NET Core unobtrusive Ajax. Why don't you be blah, blah, blah. Send data view model with iForm file if form with unobtrusive Ajax. I try to use the Ajax query. This is what you need and it works. I do not understand why that submit is confirmed 2 to 3 times. Step 1 data form data. Form data equals data form the construction the default action. GitHub. This is modified this Ajax library support file uploads. Yeah, you see, like, yeah, I'm gonna have to figure this out because this is a forum, and I got somebody who wants to play PUBG, and I kind of want to play. So, thanks for watching the stream. Um, I'll figure it out. I'll keep you updated. I gotta wait. I figured out how to how we're gonna upload files and that type of thing. It's just a matter of doing it. But I got the whole thing, so we'll be able to do it through the PlayStation Classic specifically, and it will be very nice. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and stay bleamy, I guess.